Hey guys, just as things seem as though they're starting to calm down, we get all these new developments. We're going to be doing a headline show today along with The Omen, which I'm just blown away. I'm pretty much speechless at this point. I'm going to try to do a good job presenting what I found with The Omen to you guys. But before we get into that, breaking news. This just broke, I believe, late last night or maybe early this morning. They are now saying that there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list. After they promised to release it, they're now saying there is no Jeffrey Epstein client list. This is a brand new FBI memo. DOJ, FBI released new memo on the investigation into Epstein. A review ordered by Trump appointed leadership of the Justice Department and FBI found no evidence that notorious deceased financier Jeffrey Epstein kept a client list of associates whom he blackmailed or conspired with to victimize dozens of women. Now, to me, the big elephant in the room is that the flight logs in the Black Book were always the client list. That was always the proof that there were many, many more people involved than they ever want to admit to. Not a single person in these lists were arrested except for Ghislaine Maxwell. So now we have cover up confirmed. And I'm sure this has something to do with a particular country who probably hired Epstein to get dirt on American politicians so they could be blackmailed and manipulated into doing their bidding. And so here we are. If you had any doubts, now the cognitive dissonance in people that support Trump, they'll celebrate this. They'll want to put this to bed. They'll want to put this behind them because they know that Trump's in these lists. And never, ever forget that Trump wished Ghislaine Maxwell well when she was arrested. He said, I wish her well. Now, you can read into that what you want, but something strange is going on with that as well. Now, in this memo that they just released, they also talk about, they're saying that they have now proved, we have more evidence that Epstein did kill himself. So we're dealing with that as well. Saying that they've provided more proof that he in fact did kill himself. Now, I don't believe any of this, of course, but this is the latest. Now, in another shocking development, you're not even going to believe this. Ghislaine Maxwell may be going free. Now, I don't believe she was ever in jail to begin with. I think this is real convenient for them to say that, oh, now she's cooperating. She might not have to serve her time. Okay, and then nothing ever comes of this. Meanwhile, the police state is growing. The surveillance state, AI, technocracy is growing. And everyone's giving it a pass because, oh, it's against the illegals. The network is being built up around us, creating an open-air prison. We've got FEMA camps, ICE detention facilities popping up all over the United States. And because people aren't given the evidence of what really happened, they're just giving Trump a pass. So, problem solved. All they got to do now is pretend that they let her go. Let's read this. Ghislaine Maxwell may be helping the feds expose Epstein's elite network. Wait a minute. Didn't they have all the information that they needed in the Black Book with hundreds of names and the flight log with hundreds of names? I mean, couldn't they put together a case from just looking back in time? Obviously, some of those people are probably dead under mysterious circumstances, knocked off by these people. Why do we need Ghislaine Maxwell and her cooperation? And wouldn't that have happened a long time ago? I mean, how long has she been in jail? Let's read this. Ghislaine Maxwell could avoid serving the full 20-year sentence she received for helping Jeffrey Epstein traffic and abuse underage girls. That's because According to the investigative reporter, she may be helping the FBI to take down Epstein's elite collaborators. Okay, sure. I think she's probably helping them right now. Paul Mary told Joanna Coles on the Daily Beast podcast, I don't think she's going to spend all 20 years in jail. Paul Mary, who hosted the Broken Jeffrey Epstein podcast, spent 2 years reporting on the disgraced financier. She says that prosecutors are still working to build airtight cases against the Johns, powerful men accused of abusing girls trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell. So they say they're working on this. Wow. Unbelievable. So anything is possible with these people. Anything. Let me check in with you guys, and we're going to get into The Omen. Now, I couldn't even believe this, what I'm going to show you today. We had decoded The Omen before, didn't we? But it was just a surface decode. And it was based on mostly the movie stats when it released. We also found a lot of connections to Donald Trump, but I never did actually screen the movie. There was an obvious Thorn Industry logo that was the letter T, which looked kind of like Trump's signature trademark, with two globes underneath it. And of course, now Trump is the globe ruler, right? And of course, the billionaire connections, and there were some other synchronicities. But today, we're going to go through the full screening of the movie because now I found Melania Trump ties into the movie as well. And also the number 66, which of course is the Trump Gemini number attached to him throughout the film. Let's go ahead and get started. Are you guys ready? The Omen. Now, the film begins with this couple. And Catherine, which is the wife, gives birth to a boy. And Robert is the husband. And Robert's told that the boy died at birth. The hospital chaplain, which is named Father Spoleto, persuades Robert to secretly adopt another baby whose mother has just died in childbirth. Now, Robert doesn't tell Catherine that the child is not their own, and they name the child Damien. Now, here's the crazy thing. Damien was born on 666. Let's take a look. Rome, June 6th, 6 a.m. 666. So already you have this Gemini twin aspect to the film, which by itself, of course, does not connect this film to Donald Trump. But look at all these twin 66 dates that show up in the cast. Now, if you're new to the channel, we always run the numbers on the cast members, how they cast these people. And we discovered long ago that how these people are cast is important, and that their dates have specific synchronicities in them that are unexplained. For instance, Robert, the guy who plays, the father of Damien, his name is Gregory Peck. This is the actor, and check this out. He died on 666. June is a 6 month, and 12 is 6 and 6 in 2003. Remember, Donald Trump's birthday is June 14th, so he died 2 days before Trump's 57th birthday. Let's keep going through these birthdays in the cast. Now, this next woman was cast as the evil nanny, and she was sent to protect Damien, probably sent by the devil himself to protect Damien so he could grow up and become the Antichrist. And look at this woman. She was cast specifically because she was born on 6/6. Literally cast by her birthday. Now, the woman who plays Damien's mother. Wait, hold on, let's play it. So this is the lady who was the nanny who was born on 6/6. Watch.
Have no fear, little one.
I mean, you can't make this up. Now, this woman, she plays his mother. And her name is, I believe it's Cassie. I believe. Let me take a look here. Yeah, Kathy. I'm sorry, Kathy. Now, this is crazy. Check this out. Another unexplained synchronicity. She died at the age of 55, which just so happens to be the same exact age that Melania Trump is right now. It's almost as if this was meant to be found right now. Now, the film itself released on 66 again, June 6th, 1976. As you see here, it also released again on the 88 days after the 88th day of the year, which is June 25th. You ready for this? So June 6th and 88 days after the 88th day of the year. That's Biff Back to the Future confirmed. And this is exactly the date that Donald Trump's father died. June 25th, 666, or 1999. You can always flip nines upside down to form sixes. What the heck? Was Fred Trump the original traveler, born 88 days after the 80, or died 88 days after the 88th day of the year? Hard to tell. But there's quite a few synchronicities here, aren't there? Quite a few. Now, there's more. Again, I wouldn't have done a decode if just based off of the information that I just told you, but there's even more because there are connections to Trump through this presidency. Damien's father jokes about being the president. Watch.
Nothing's too much for the wife of the future president of the United States.
You know you're pushy. You know you could be too sexy for the White House. Since one of them assumed the awesome burden of the presidency.
Remember, this woman died at the age of 55, the age Melania Trump is right now. Trump connections confirmed. Now, here's where things get even weirder because there was a sequel to The Omen in 2006. Trump was 60 years old when the sequel came out in 2006. 0660. The same age that Peck, the father, was in the original 1976 movie that you're looking at on your screen. He's 60 years old right here. And when the remake came out in 2006, Trump was 60 years old. You can't make this up. Now, here's where things get even more weird.
I'll give my regards to the First Lady.
I'll do my best.
The film grossed on its first day $12,633,666. You think there's something spiritual going on here? Now, that was probably a made-up number that they just arbitrarily said, but it begs the question, doesn't it? Damien Thorn, DT, is Donald Trump. And Kathy Thorn, his wife, is Melania Trump. Now, fast forward to the end of the movie, and they show us a mysterious president and first lady that attend Robert and Kathy's funeral at the end of the movie. Let's take a look.
Excuse me, Mr. President. When you're ready to leave, your car is right over there.
In a moment.
You can't make this up, you guys. Now, oddly, we only see the backs of their heads. And in fact, I researched, and nowhere on the internet are these two people identified anywhere. They don't appear in the credits. And you have to ask yourself, is this Trump and Melania? Now, why are they at the other couple's funeral? Well, apparently, this president is the godfather of the boy. And so godparents take the boy in, and this is exactly what they do.
Yes, sir.
The Holy Roman Empire rises, then you and I must die.
Now, this next part is chilling because Damien's father gets a visit from this priest. He tells him that Damien will inherit his wealth. He will rule the world as a political leader. And he will cause men to fight each other until there is no flesh left. And all of this began at the birth of Damien. And they talk about Israel returning to Jerusalem. They talk about a comet passing over. All of this is in the prophecy of when Damien was born. Let's take a look.
When the Jews return to Zion, and a comet rips the sky, turning man against his brother, till man exists no more.
So this prophecy is actually repeated throughout the film. It's like a big deal. Let's keep listening.
From the eternal sea he rises, creating armies on either shore. 'Tis by means of a human personality entirely in his possession that Satan will wage his last formidable offense.
Now, some of this prophecy is in the Bible. I think it was Jeremiah or Zechariah, where God will appear in Jerusalem and bring the armies of the world to Jerusalem for a final battle, Armageddon. And then he will defeat them. And then those who do not worship him, he will give them a zombie plague. We covered that in several videos over the past couple weeks. Let's keep watching this here.
I'm not here to listen to a sermon.
With your wealth and power, he will establish his counterfeit kingdom here on earth, receiving his power directly from Satan. Then he will kill your wife. And when he is certain to inherit all that is yours, then, Mr. Thorn, he will kill you.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, right? Now, I don't know if this applies to Trump, but look at all the other synchronicities. Now, I saved the best for last because after I was completely done with this decode, I thought maybe I should look back at the Omen 2006. Let's finish this up here.
This one was on the other side of the world, the European continent, 5 years ago. Comet changed its shape into a glowing star like the Star of Bethlehem 2,000 years ago, also dated the 6th of June, 5 years ago. The day your son was born. 6th month, 6th day, the 6th of June to be exact.
Notice all the 66s. Yes, I know it's 666, but a lot of it is 66. That's the Gemini number. That's the Trump number. That's the 66th floor penthouse in the Black Trump Tower. And all the other 66s we found.
From the eternal sea he rises.
Theologians have already interpreted the eternal sea as meaning the world of politics. The sea that constantly rages with turmoil and revolution.
And the most specific 66 connection to Trump, never ever forget. He won the presidency. He won the 58th presidential quadrennial election. The first time it was 58 years after 1958. And then he won again here recently, 66 years after 1958. 66 confirmed. Twin presidencies separated by Biden biding his time.
Says he shall rise from the eternal sea.
Creating armies on either shore, that was the beginning of it.
And so the devil's child will rise from the world of politics.
Wow, that is just stunning. Now, let's go to The Omen 2006. Here's the article. You're not going to believe this. Remember, Trump was 60 years old, the same age that Peck was in the original. And let's take a look. Now, I'm probably not going to decode this film only because it's almost an exact duplicate of the original film. It's basically they took scene for scene. I couldn't find anything that looked different. So we're just going to look at the stats. And I hope you're sitting down for this because evil is real. This is Julia Stiles. She was born on the eve of the 88th day of the year, and she is 44 years old, which is half of 88. We were meant to find this right now. Are you ready for this? There's more. Liv Schreiber is 57 years old, the same age that Trump was when the woman died in the film. I think that was the one that died at 55 years old. Let me look back, so I don't want to get this wrong here. Let's see here. 2000. Nope, not her. Where'd she go? Oh. Nope. Oh boy, where did it go? Was it Gregory Peck? Yes. So, Gregory Peck died in 2003 when Trump was 57. And Liv Schreiber is now 57 years old. Now, Liv Schreiber also was born with 88 days left in the year. So it creates this circle, doesn't it? 88 days left in the year. Liv Schreiber, Julia Stiles, the 88th day of the year. And I believe they play the husband and wife. Let's take a look here. So you have a mirror. You have a Gemini mirror, don't you? Yes. Robert and Catherine Thorn. So they mirror each other. It's like a time loop. 88 and 88. 88th day and 88 days left in the year. Wow. Now again, at the end of this film, just like in the original film, there is a funeral. And once again, the people at the funeral are unidentified. They're uncredited. You don't know who they are. So it's a mystery once again. But I think we solved the mystery, didn't we? Just by looking at how all this was cast and all the numbers. So, crazy times, you guys. Crazy times. All right, I'm back in the chat, everybody. Yes, Obama and Trump are the duality. But Trump is the one that put the conservatives to sleep and built the technocracy. Obama didn't have anything to do with that unless you believe that he was in the background pulling the strings. I mean, you could say that he was behind Biden, maybe helping the electric kingdom, but Biden was actually carrying out Trump's edict on 5G and 6G because all that's needed for the AI police state. They need a robust network to make that happen. So they all work together, you guys. This isn't about, it's who's in power right now. What about Baron? I don't know. And I don't know exactly how these characters overlay, but that's what I pulled out of the films. Wow. I think focusing on Obama does a disservice because what it does is it takes people's eyes off of Trump, who's walking right through all of our private rights under the guise of getting rid of illegals. I know a lot of you want to believe that Obama is the central character, but by doing that, you're basically putting people to sleep to what Trump's doing right in front of our eyes that nobody will stand up and talk about. Palantir, Project Gotham, all of it. Baron is Damien, says Josh. That's possible. Yes, the omen means a sign. I mean, there's just too much symbolism. The big, beautiful bill, BBB 666. How Trump knew that his presidency was going to be 58 years and 66 years after 1958. How he knew he would be the president 45 and 47. Look at this. This is Trump's tower in Turkey. Oh, that's a black cube. And thanks to the subscriber who posted this in the Facebook group, Trump Tower's black cube of Mecca in Turkey. This is a real place. And I looked at the specs on this in this building. Here, let's look it up. Trump Tower, Turkey. It's a real place, you guys. Ready for this? It opened in 2012, yet when you look at the stats on this tower, it encodes both of Trump's presidencies, 45th and 47th presidencies. And in fact, it's exactly these two towers are 33 feet difference in their heights because there's these two towers that are kind of pinned together with the cube on top. Well, some people just won't wake up. They're going to continue to deflect and won't come to terms with this. But the evidence has been shown on this channel anyway. All right. I'm back in the chat, you guys. Straight up witchcraft. The builders, the Freemasons, they know exactly what they're doing. Trump just showed you who is his king by crowning this building with a black cube. We all know who has the black cubes on their foreheads. Wow. All right. What else is going on, you guys? I'll put links to all this, of course, as I always do. Oh, thanks you guys for showing up to the surprise premiere last night. Uploaded the Honey Milk Ranch update, quick update. I know some of you are into that and others aren't, but a couple thousand of you guys showed up, so that was cool. So check that out. It's under the video tab here on the channel. Yeah, the rat is bad. He showed up again last night on the camera, and he's carrying some kind of like nesting material in his mouth. I don't know what to do with this rat, but he's under the deck. I'm gonna have to start pulling up deck boards and find the actual entrance to the burrow. I got some gopher grenades on order, should be here soon, and I'm gonna stick it down the hole and just blast him. Texas is going to get more rain. They're saying there could be more flash flooding. At least people are prepared now, but what a tragedy that was. And then there's everything behind that as well with this Camp Mystic. Apparently it was an elite camp. A lot of elite children went to this camp, which is weird. Then you got to ask yourself, was this storm like a cover for a huge abduction event? I mean, amidst all this chaos, anything can happen, right? And that would be like the perfect cover story, wouldn't it? Oh, they got washed down the river and then boom, disappeared. I mean, not that they would, I don't think they would steer a storm into a place just so they could abduct people, but understand that when these events happen, chaos ensues. We all saw it. Remember the hurricane down in Louisiana and all these people went missing? There were a bunch of weird actors cruising around. People saw military, like rogue lone wolves cruising around. And amidst the looting, there was abduction happening because it's a situation of chaos. And so, yeah, same thing in Maui. Exactly, Andre. So, yeah, it hit 4 a.m. in the morning. People had no advance warning. Now, it's easy to play armchair quarterback in hindsight and after the fact, but you got to ask yourself, you've got hundreds of campgrounds in a floodplain, right? Because that's where campgrounds go. They're down along creeks and rivers because you're near the water, especially in the hot summer. You've got hundreds of campgrounds in this area. I don't know if there were hundreds, but there were at least dozens, right? And you would think that there would be some kind of siren. Apparently, this place is notorious for flash flooding. You know, out here in the Midwest and in the South, we have sirens that go off every day at noon. You can barely hear it, but there's a tornado siren. Not a tornado. Yeah, it's a tornado siren, but they test it every day at noon. I don't know if it's all year round. Maybe I've gotten used to the sound, but it's a faint siren that goes off. So even out here in rural Arkansas, there are sirens that go off. Now, why isn't there something similar for a floodplain with a bunch of campsites on it? You wouldn't have to put too many of them. I would say you put like a dozen of these sirens up. And when a flash flood is coming, the sirens go off because people are sleeping in the middle of the night. It was 4th of July. They were up late and they all went to bed. And right after they went to bed, boom, flash flood. So this would all go back to funding, right? And they're already admitting that they cut funding on emergency preparedness. Trump cut it as well. Now, Trump did declare this a national emergency, which is weird because he just got done saying he wasn't going to do that anymore. He was going to put all this responsibility on the states. And now he's flipped the script again. And because it's Texas, he is declaring a national emergency, which means federal funding. You can't pick and choose who you're going to help. You have to set a policy and stick by it, right? Now, I understand FEMA has its problems. And yes, FEMA needed to be defunded, but you don't not replace it with something else. Maybe he should have just changed the leadership in FEMA and restructured it, made it more efficient. I don't know. But he left everyone hanging. And he left everyone with a big question mark about what's going to happen during a national disaster. Or are we going to get funding? You see how this works? This is not good, you guys. Not good. So, Great Awakening says Palantir paid for cloud seeding 2 days earlier. Oh, wow. If that's true, that's crazy. Trump is shutting down weather satellites. Yep. Now, what's this all about? Well, we had our theories about this. We've been saying this for a long time. Even when Biden was president, I said to you that they're coming after the people in the country. They want everyone in a city. Cities are easier to patrol. They're easier to monitor. They're easier to surveil. Right? They're easier to control, ultimately. They don't want a bunch of Americans out in unincorporated areas living off the grid where they can't be controlled. So they're going through and they're making the unincorporated areas feel dangerous. They're making them feel dangerous. They're making them feel unsafe. I believe they're waging weather warfare on the unincorporated areas. There's been too many times. Why don't we ever hear major cities with these kinds of disasters? Why is it always somewhere out in the sticks? We've had lots of precedents, you guys. We had North Carolina. We had Austin. We had Maui. We had all these places are literally getting attacked. Now the hill country in Texas. Places where a lot of people go or went to try to live off the grid. Is that an accident? I don't think it is. I think this is done by design. Now you can make the case, because we want to give this fair balance, right? You can make the case, I guess, that these areas, some of these areas are maybe cheaper for land. So maybe people are buying in places that are where the land is cheaper, where unfortunately the topography is a little bit more dangerous. We see this in places like Kansas where it's flat and you get a lot of tornadoes blowing through, right? But people buy the land there because it's cheap and they're willing to kind of take their chances. But at a certain point, you've got to look at the consistency of this stuff. Now, of course, the liberals will blame this all on global warming and all this, right? Oh, the weather's more extreme now because of global warming. But I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all for a second. So those are my thoughts on all this. And then the dead giveaway is Trump defunding the monitoring of weather. Like, that's a dead giveaway there. Like, dude, bro, you know? So now someone uploaded a video from, I think it was from the 80s. And dude from Star Trek, Captain Kirk, was basically, he was the one speaking, he was narrating, and it was video from this exact same area, the Guadalupe River. And there were children lost in that incident as well. Entire busload of children got swept downstream. They tried to cross a road. Did you guys see that video? And the water came up, overtook the bus, and all the children got out of the bus, and many were swept downstream. There were river rescues in this exact same area. I was like, what the heck? Is this AI? No, it was a real show from the 80s. So this stuff does happen, and it happens repeatedly in certain areas. Yes, in 87. Yes, thanks, Agathusia. Yep. So, all right. Now, the fact that they don't put up some kind of warning system when they know this stuff's going to happen, there's another dead giveaway. It's almost like they're like, oh, go ahead and buy your land out here. And then they don't tell you the real risk, do they? And they don't do anything to help people be warned when something's going to happen. Kathy asked, do you think certain areas are cursed? Well, there's biblical precedent for some of that, isn't there? In the Bible, there were places of significance that were mentioned. There were certain curses placed on lands where things would never grow again. Of course, there's the Sodom and Gomorrah site. And so that's mentioned at least 3 or 4 or 5 times in the Bible. That'd be a great Bible study to look up different ways that God judged and cursed certain lands where he said things won't grow there and things like this. So yes, I believe there is such a thing as hallowed ground. And we also know that when Abel was killed, his blood cried up from the earth. So that happens. So if there's a lot of death at a specific site, that reaches heaven on some level. So now I don't know how all that manifests out of the spiritual realm in terms of anything like that, like hauntings or anything like that. But we do know it's a thing. Fish in the Dead Sea again. All right. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. That was pretty much all I wanted to cover today. Might do a headline show tomorrow. So we'll see. Put links to all this in the pinned comment. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Much love.